Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Eddy.
And I'm Tom Prasol.
And we are so pleased to welcome you to another episode of
Anything But Politics.
where we talk about anything but politics.
Well, yeah, of course. I thought that was a given, given the name. But today we're really excited to have a guest. Today's guest I think he's in his 18th term in the legislature. You know, he has quite the resume of titles he's held, from minority leader to deputy speaker to speaker pro tem. And also, I think he's our first Hall of Famer that we're having on the podcast.
It's a big deal.
It is. But without further ado, we'll introduce Speaker Sherm Packard.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll start with, you're a New Hampshire lifer, right? You were born and raised here?
I was born and raised in Manchester, and I moved to Londonderry back in 1973. And I'm still in the same house as I moved to in 73.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing. So you must like the house.
I like the area.
Yeah.
And probably the mortgage.
What's that?
Exactly. So you've been a New Hampshire lifer, but I think it's really interesting, and this is something I just learned about you, but so your name, Sherman Adams Packard.
I was named after former Governor Adams, Sherman Adams. I don't know the whole story, but I know my father was working on his, I think, inaugural or something like that, and I happened to come along, and that's how I got my name. Yeah.
So I was actually just learning and reading about Governor Adams, because I didn't really know much of his history, but maybe you can share some of it, because it's really fascinating. His storied, career from, I think he was a congressman, governor, chief of staff.
Chief of staff, yeah. No, he had quite the career. In fact, I haven't got to it yet. But I've got a whole book on him, and in his life, and that's one of the next ones I want to be reading.
No, it's great. So he was the chief of staff for
Eisenhower.
And I think if what I read is accurate, which it was on the internet, so I don't know if it is or not, but
Did you go to Wikipedia?
Yeah, I may or may not have visited Wikipedia today. But so he's the first person to hold the title of chief of staff while in that position, because Eisenhower brought that title from his military career.
You know more than I do at this point.
Well,
I did not know that.
Well, we don't know if it's true, but we're going to say it is right now.
Well, once I read the book, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Heard it here first, right here for the international audience. Now, you've been in politics for a long time, but also sounds like you come from a political family. So can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into politics and your family background?
Well, my family background is my father was in the Senate from 52 to 60. And he was Senate President in 59 and 60. Oh. And in 60, he decided he was going to run for Congress in the 1st District. And the current congressman at that time was Chester Merrill from up in Ossipee. And he'd been in there, I think, 10 terms, like 20 years.
Wow.
And my father lost in the primary, kind of hard to see the 20-term congressman. And so that was... he lost that, and then the following year, when Chester Merrill decided not to run, everybody said, "Run, you'll guarantee to win," and he decided not to, and that's when he and a other handful of people got together, and after what I was told was a long night of asking him and begging him and probably prodding him, they got Louis Wyman to run instead. You must remember Louis Wyman. He was a congressman for, I think it was 10, 12 years, and ran in the tightest, closest Senate race in the history of the country.
Oh, wow.
So what did your dad do when he decided not to?
Well, he went to work for Louis. He still had a business in Manchester that he had been started in 1942, doing automotive interiors and seat covers and all that stuff. So, but he went to work for Louis down in Washington for about a year and a half, and he just hated Washington.
Yeah,
so,
it's a common theme.
Came back up here and ran Louis' office up here in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's amazing. And what sort of lessons do you think you learned from your dad that kind of inspired you to get into politics?
good ones and bad ones.
Yeah. Well, you can share both if you want.
Well, I mean, you know, politics back then was, I got to say, probably a lot more civil than it is today. Unfortunately, that you know, we've devolved into what has become sometimes very nasty politics. And I mean, if you read a lot of history, which, you know, that's what I love to read, history about presidents and everything else. I mean, there has been some pretty nasty elections. I mean, even going back to 1800s. You know, look at you know, some of the ones that happened, and I mean, you know, they were pretty bad. They're really pretty nasty. Of course, we didn't have mass media and everything back then, so you know, it didn't get out like it gets out today. I mean, you were out in some small town out in the middle of you know, Pennsylvania or something. You know, you might get a paper once every 2-3 weeks. So you know, a lot of this stuff just didn't get out, but it was you know, there have been some pretty nasty stuff going on through the years, but it's gotten worse, from what I can see.
Yeah.
And having been in politics now for 18 years, is that correct?
18 terms.
18 terms. Oh my
That's
goodness.
like almost 36.
Yeah.
Next year, on my 36th year in the legislature.
So first of all, you should probably be writing a book yourself, right? From all
Well,
the experience.
Well, a lot of people have said that. I got to write a book, especially over the last 3 terms. I mean, my first term was COVID.
Yep.
And if you remember, you know, Dick Hinch was elected speaker, and he died 7 days later, you know. And when we decided to have the drive-in
Yep.
over to UNH, which has never been done before and will never be done again, we had that drive-in, and it worked. It was very interesting, but it worked. And if you saw a picture of me, everybody was in their cars. The cars were running. They were nice and hot, and they were, you know, drinking their hot coffee and everything else.
I know where this is going.
And Paul Smith, you know, the clerk, and his staff and we were up in stage. Well, it wasn't too bad until about maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, somewhere in that vicinity, and it started getting cold.
Yeah.
But I had on for like 5 layers. I had on one of those real nice, you know, hats with the flaps coming down and everything else.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was starting to get cold, but the most amazing thing that happened that day was, I think it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Paul Smith comes up and whispers in my ear, "Capitol's under attack."
Yeah.
It was January 6th
Oh gosh.
that I got elected to the speakership. And of course, we didn't know if it was, you know, any details. All we knew was that, you know, the Capitol was under attack, and we didn't know it was going to transcend to the State House. We didn't know if other states were going to, you know, we really had no idea. So we wrapped up as quickly as we could, and you know, and then it was there. But I go to every year there's a National Speakers Conference, and I've told that story a number of times, and of course, there isn't the closest that we have to any state as far as numbers go is Pennsylvania, and they're at 203,
Yeah.
Wow.
and we're at 400.
Yep.
And they look at me like, "Are you crazy? You know, 400 people. You have 400 people?" And if it's a new speaker, a lot of times they don't know, and yeah, they just say that, "I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. You're crazy," you know. So it's been a real interesting run, and of course, you know, we had prior to that, you know, we were still in COVID, and that's why we had to have a session in a parking lot. you
Yeah.
know. But you know, that was and thanks to Aaron and the staff. You know, we were out in Bedford first at the sports complex because we had to rent that. We had to bring in our own chairs. We had to bring in our own food. We had to bring in our own communications, you know, because they didn't have enough, you know, communications to work out there. And that was the first year. And then the second year of COVID, we were in Manchester because they had things scheduled out in Bedford. So we were at the old center in Hampshire. I keep calling it that, but it's a DoubleTree now. So we were there, and we had to do the same thing, basically. They had chairs, but we had to still buy the food. We had to, still park the cars. We still had to bring in, the electronic equipment, for everything. So, the staff did a tremendous job, setting all that up.
Yeah, when
So-
when you're talking about 400 people, there's only so many places in the state that you can go that can
Right.
fit that many people.
And make sure they're 6 feet apart.
That's right.
I mean,
That's a good point.
it's an incredible testament to your leadership and also your staff to be able to logistically pull something off, but also keep our state government going and keep us, operating with the transparency that I think the public is wanting and expecting and deserves.
And then the following session, I had roughly a 2-vote margin,
Oh, wow.
which means we were basically even.
Yeah.
Because on any given day, session day, we were in the minority,
Yeah.
depending on who showed up and who didn't show up, or who left at 3 o'clock, and so. But we still got a budget passed. I think that's one of the crowning achievements in my career is what we were able to do. That session. I just remember I sat down with the the minority leader, Matt Wilhelm, and basically neither one of us had the votes pass budget, so we had to sit down and work together, and we did, and we passed the budget to the Senate on a voice vote,
Wow.
which was, I don't know,
Also
if
unheard
that's
of.
ever happened, yeah. And then when we kept working with the Senate, and when they sent us back the budget bill, we concurred with it. And I think the vote was 325 or 330 to 55, something like that.
Yeah.
So, it just goes to show you can disagree with people, but you don't have to be disagreeable. You don't have to cause problems. We were able to put a budget together. And, of course, there's never been a budget that everybody's been completely happy with. And there was things in there that we didn't like. There was things in there that Matt and the Democrats didn't like. But we realized it was the right thing to do. So we got a budget passed.
And that's the thing. And I think that's really important what you just mentioned, which is, you don't have to agree, but you don't have to be disagreeable. And I think that's something that's kind of we're losing a little bit as a country and a society. And so part of the idea of the podcast was to let people know who these people are so they can, find common ground and really develop relationships. And, having been in the House for, going in your 18th term, I'm sure you've developed a ton of relationships over the years. So I think, did you start on transportation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I said this when we had Representative Tulersky on, that the Transportation Committee just breeds leaders. She's the deputy Democratic leader. You're the speaker. Steve Smith, the former chair, is the deputy speaker. So, but tell us a little bit about some of the relationships that you've developed and over the years, either both sides of the aisle.
Well, when I first got up here, I was, I had a business, automotive upholstery business, and so, I was in the automotive industry per se. So I got on transportation, and back then it was, if we went to lunch, it was 3 or 4 Democrats and 3 or 4 Republicans, and we got along great. Occasionally we had something that we disagreed on, but overall, we were, I made some very, very good friends. And but prior to that, I had been working on different motorcycle issues, and I knew most of the people on the Transportation Committee at that time anyways, because a lot of those issues is what we had dealt with. And, it was really good. And then after, and when Donna Sitek took over, Harold Burns was there for 3 terms as speaker. And when Donna took over, she made me chairman. So I was chairman for 10 years, and then I was chairman again under Bill O'Brien for those 2 years. So I was chairman for 6 terms altogether.
It seems like, as you were mentioning, you've been in the House for such a long period of time. Do you think that there's still the ability for people from both parties to kind of sit down and have lunch and, good conversation, or does it seem like that's become...
No, it's still possible.
It's still possible?
Yeah, it's still very possible. I mean, you got to be realistic that you can disagree on a subject matter, but that doesn't mean you can't sit down and have lunch with somebody or go out and have a drink after session or something like that. There's nothing that prevents that from happening, and I still got a lot of good friends that are Democrats.
Yeah.
We don't agree on some things, but I've got a lot of good friends that are Democrats that I've known for years. So and it's still possible, and I've always tried to encourage members to get to know somebody from the other side of the aisle. You might be surprised. You might not agree with them a lot, but you might be surprised that they're just another person that believes in what they believe in.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and that's what's so wonderful about getting to know people is, you have many talents and maybe someone doesn't agree with you necessarily, but they might be interested to hear a little bit about one of your passions that I'm hoping that we can talk about, but motorcycles. So when did you first have a love for motorcycles? And let's talk a little bit about some of your activities on behalf of the rights of motorcyclists.
Well, I started riding, I think it was 1968, and that's when I got my first bike.
What was it?
It was a 1954 Harley Panhead,
Okay.
and it was what we used to call a basket case, where it was all in pieces.
What's that mean?
Well, it was completely apart.
So you had to put it together yourself? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was completely apart, and I think I paid $175 for it back then.
Oh my! A Harley?
And
Wow.
I'm saying, boy, did that guy get me, it's probably worth $5,000 in today's money. But yeah, back then I bought it. It was what we call a basket case, and I had to buy a few parts but put it together. And then in 1974, there was a piece of legislation that was in the Senate. I think it had to do with a mandatory lights-on bill. And, of course, my father still knew many, many people in the Senate at that point. And I made a few phone calls to me, and we killed the bill. And at that point, there was a movement starting in the country against the mandatory helmet law. Mm-hmm. And a lot of states had started forming organizations. So I started the one here in New Hampshire Motorcyclist Rights Organization. And the first thing we did in 75, when I started it, is we went to Washington, because one of the things that was forcing states to pass helmet laws, mandatory helmet laws, was the federal government was blackmailing the states that if you didn't have a mandatory helmet law and a mandatory seatbelt law, of course they enforced the helmet law part, but they didn't enforce the seatbelt part, is you lost, I think if it was, I remember correctly, 3 or 4% of your highway funds.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They just took them away. So we went to Washington as a group of motorcyclists. Not any of us really knew what the heck we were doing. And I had a little bit of background in politics, but basically none of us were ready for what we ran into. But we got the law changed.
Yeah.
In 1976, President Ford signed the highway bill, and that was part of it. So we were able to repeal that. And then I just kept working in the state on, one of the biggest things was, I came into the state house in 91. In 89, I was able to get a bill passed that set up the motorcycle education program in 1989. And, it was a state-run program, and it was self-funded, through money from registrations. If you were a motorcycle license or you registered your motorcycle, there was, I think it was $5 on the license and $1 each year on the registrations, if I remember. So the program became self-funded with a little bit of money each person had to put in. But over the past, 30 years now, 35 years, I can honestly say we've probably saved hundreds and hundreds of lives and prevented not only saving lives, but we've probably prevented thousands of accidents from happening because people were taught how to ride properly and what to do and what not to do. And it's still a very successful program, very successful. In fact, talking to the motor vehicles, this year they had a record number of people that came through the program.
Oh, that's impressive.
It is impressive. I mean, that type of education, and including, driver education, where they teach you how to, drive behind or in front of a motorcycle. I think those are incredible things. I always operate under, I don't have a motorcycle, I don't ride a motorcycle, but I always respect them and, give them a wide berth, because if I were in their situation, I wouldn't want me creeping up on them.
Well, you'd look good on one.
There's two things in the driver education, for cars, driver education program. One of them is a 45-minute thing on motorcycle awareness, and a 45-minute thing on tractor trailer awareness. And Bob Letourneau and I got that bill passed.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I want to ask a personal question because it's incredible, and it already just the legacy and the lives that you've helped save because of the legislation. But I want to go back to a little bit more of you as a person. So you bought that motorcycle, that Harley, back in 1975?
No, 68.
Oh, 68.
Yep.
Sorry. So 1968, and it was a basket case.
Yep.
So do you still have it, or what was your next bike, and do you still ride, and why do you love riding, and do you wear leather? And I want to learn more about you as a motorcyclist.
I don't have that one.
Okay.
I do have a 1967 that I bought. It'll be 49 years this year,
Wow.
and I still have that one. But I also have a 21 Heritage Softail that I bought brand new. I don't ride as much as I used to, but I mean, I still love it. I still enjoy it. Obviously, I'm not in the same physical shape I was 50 years ago. Or,
Well, who is
so
really?
I can't do what I used to do, but I still love it. I still believe 100% in motorcyclist rights.
And I think the very kind Aaron Goulet was nice enough to send us some historical articles of you and your wife from, I think I saw one that was 1976, but your wife is kind of part of the motorcycles rights too, is that correct?
Yeah, she worked alongside of me, and she used to love to ride with me. And she's passed away. She passed away 7 years ago. And but we used to ride all the time. Every summer we'd take off for about 2 weeks on the bike and, just go wherever.
Yeah.
And so, we used to love to just get out there and go.
Is that how you met? Through?
No. We met in high school.
Okay. Now, so you mentioned that you used to get on the bike and just travel for, 2 weeks at a time. Whereabouts? Because I know you are very well traveled.
Well, I mean, all over the Northeast. A couple of times we went up into Canada or Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. Just every year we went someplace different.
Yeah. But you both traveled together outside of just on the bikes too, right?
Yeah, I've done a tremendous amount of traveling. I spent a number of years going around the country, actually testifying in different legislative bodies and putting on seminars on how you should act and how you should work to, get things done in your state. And so, yeah, I've been to 49 states. I got one to go.
Oh, wow.
Which one?
Hawaii.
Got any plans?
Maybe.
You can't ride your bike there.
No.
Well, you should go. I've been to Hawaii. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't been. If you want someone to join you,
I'll go too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could just take anything but politics on the road, so that would be a lot of fun. But you have been to, I believe, your Hall of Famer, as Tom alluded to in the beginning. And how did you want to tell us a little bit about where that is and how that came to pass? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was back in 2003. I made a tremendous amount of friends across the country, in the movement. And a person that used to live in New Hampshire had moved to, I think it was Kansas or Nebraska. And she you got to be nominated by somebody that's in the Hall of Fame, and she nominated me back in 2003, and so I was inducted into the Sturgis Motorcycle Hall of Fame back in 2003.
So can you tell us a little bit about Sturgis, what it is?
Well, it's probably the largest motorcycle gathering in the country right now.
When does it take place?
South Dakota.
Okay. And
Sturgis,
when?
South Dakota.
Like in the summer?
August.
Okay.
It's usually August, first and second week of August. And I don't know if you've ever been to South Dakota.
No, never.
There's some beautiful roads out there. I mean, they got the Black Hills and, some beautiful riding roads out there. Of course, the state's quite a bit bigger land-wise than New Hampshire is, but I think they only got like 700,000 people, so it's a lot less than we do here. But it's, Sturgis itself is a town of about, I think, 6,000 people. When they have the motorcycle rally out there, there'd be 500,000 people in South Dakota.
Wow, 500,000.
500,000, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they've almost doubled the state's population.
Yeah.
Do they have the infrastructure, or is it like camping?
A lot of camping.
Okay. I was going to say, I mean, I don't know how these.
Yeah, there's a
inns
lot
and
of camping,
hotels.
and you can't find a motel room unless you've got one booked. That's for sure. So, it's just they literally shut down the town of Sturgis, and I think their main street is maybe about a mile long or something like that. And it's just everything is motorcycle for that for that whole time down there for a full week.
Well, we have a great motorcycle, rally that
We have
takes place
Laconia,
here,
which is the oldest one in the country, and we just had our 100th anniversary. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, we don't get the crowds that they do in Sturgis, but we still have. We still get 250,000 people show up here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's huge
The
for
three
the economy.
the three big ones are Sturgis, Daytona Beach, and Laconia. Those are the three big ones. You got a lot of smaller ones around the country, but those are the top three.
Kind of the legends of them.
Yeah.
It's changed over the years, though, too. I think, I remember back in the day when I used to cover it, being a reporter at Channel 9, it felt like there were more people that were coming in at that point. And I used to ride a motorcycle a little bit
I didn't know that.
on the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Danny, the camera guy here. But yeah, and it was fun. And but remember going up there and thinking like, wow, there's so many people. And I don't know if it's because I'm not in the news as much anymore. Maybe I'm not paying as much close attention. And kids come and the motorcycle kind of vanishes and goes away. But it doesn't seem like it's the same as it used to be. But is that just maybe my misperception?
It's a lot calmer.
Calmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's the right word. It's a lot,
Calmer.
calmer than it used to be. I mean, there's more families type stuff going on. I mean, I haven't actually been up to Laconia in a number of years, but.
And I know Charlie St. Clair does a great job, keeping it going, and kudos to him. And so it is a lot of fun. And we used to always joke because it used to always rain when Bike Week would come.
Yes.
And we weren't allowed to call it Bike Week.
Yes.
It's supposed to be Motorcycle Week, but everyone would say Bike Week. And it would always feel like it rained.
The past few years, we've been pretty lucky. But too many times, yeah, I've been up there many times when it's weather isn't too nice for riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But of course, it used to be just a weekend. Years ago, It used to be just a weekend, and now it's a full week. And Charlie and I are good friends. I've known Charlie for 50 years almost, and they've been able to put it together so now that they have activities all the time.
Charlie was always very good and very gracious to me whenever I was up there, and very helpful. But I have a question. When you ride your motorcycle, and when I used to ride a bike, I had the black leather pants, and I still have my old motorcycle jacket. Do you get decked out? I mean, it's for safety too, because it protects you.
It does protect you, but it also, if it's a cool day,
Yeah.
Keeps you warm.
That's what you want. That's what you need to keep warm. Yeah.
So, fashion question then: fringe on jackets, fashion, faux pas. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's The fringe is, well, at least to me, I don't have a fringe jacket, but it's usually for, for looks.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fringe isn't going to help you keep you warm, and it isn't going to help you in an accident, so.
Well, we know what to get you for Christmas this year.
I mean, I think Tom would look good in a little fringe. But
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been said. But speaking of, the holidays, I want to go back to talking about something that you and your wife did, which was you started the toy run.
Yeah, the organization, she was one of the main people that started and worked on the toy run. This was our 42nd year, I think, this year. And
so tell everyone a little bit about what the toy run is.
What the toy
where
run
it starts.
is it's literally a number of motorcyclists will congregate in someplace, and they'll take a ride, and they'll bring toys. Now, when we first started doing it, we did it for the Toys for Tots, the Marines, and then we switched over after a few years to the Salvation Army. And so for 39 years now, I think it is, 38 years, we have the toy run, rain or shine. And a couple times, one time it actually snowed, and we were having it in October.
wow.
So that's when we changed it to the second week in September. We've been at that now for a long time. But we usually start in Concord. We used to leave Heritage, Harley-Davidson, and go down to Manchester for the past 10, 15 years, maybe longer than that now, maybe 20 years. We've been meeting at the Department of Safety parking lot, so I'd like to give them a real thank you for allowing us to do that. So we'll meet in the Department of Safety parking lot, and we'll ride down to, we used to ride down to the Union Leader before it was, before they moved out of where they are now. And now we go down to Comcast. Comcast has let us use their parking lot right off Industrial Drive there, and it's a perfect place to meet. And the Salvation Army will come, and they'll have a trailer, and people there to fill the trailer up on any given day. It could be 200 to 500 motorcycles that'll bring down toys for the Salvation Army.
Wow.
And all those toys go to the Salvation Army room where they give out the toys and the jackets and stuff like that for Christmas.
Yeah, it's super important, and it's just such a great organization and charity. What you're doing, but it's also fun, right? Because
it's
you have
fun.
Santa leads, right?
Yeah. It's Santa leads the pack.
Yep.
Yeah. And
have you ever been Santa?
I've never been Santa.
Okay.
No. But
Santa's at the North Pole.
I meant for the ride.
Oh, okay.
As a helper.
Okay.
It's I'm usually right at the beginning of the pack, and it's so nice to see a lot of times how many kids are out there, and they'll see Santa on the bike and they're waving and Santa, hi Santa, and the kids will meet us at the end of the run, and they'll everyone wants pictures with Santa and everything else. We've had some great Santas through the years.
That's amazing. And what an incredible legacy. That's what a great thing to start and have it continue on. Must make you feel good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if anybody had said when I started this thing 50 years ago, this is our 50th anniversary this year, I would have said, what are you, crazy?
Yeah.
I had no conception whatsoever that it would be as successful as it is, and it's still going strong. Still going very, very strong.
That's incredible.
Now, so there's obviously a passion that you and your wife had, and you have how many kids?
One daughter.
One daughter. And did she like to ride?
Yeah.
Or does she like to ride?
Well, that's a good story.
Yeah.
When she was in high school in Londonderry, every now and then, probably more than it should have been, she purposely missed the bus. And so she would come in, oh, Dad, I missed the bus. I know, you want me to ride you to you want me to get on the back of the bike and bring you to school, right? Yeah. So, she pulled that on me a few times.
That must have been fun.
Oh, it was.
For both of you.
She said that a lot of people didn't believe that I had a motorcycle. So I think the first time that I actually drove her to school, drove her to school in the back of the bike and, pulled up into the parking lot, and of course everybody, come up and found out who it was and everything else. So, yeah, that was it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah, that is a great story. So I'm just wondering, beyond obviously the passion for motorcycles, and I know you had a car reupholstery business, but are there any other hobbies or any other things that you're doing when you're not being speaker? You know, what would a typical week or month look like for you?
Well, I've been with my local Lions Club for 33 years. Past president, past treasurer.
More titles.
I've also I've been I'm a Mason, and I've been a Mason now for 16, 17 years, and I've held many posts in that organization. I also I twice I've sat on the executive committee of the National Conference of State Legislators, and right now I'm still on the board of directors of the State Legislative Leaders Foundation. And I'm also on the board of directors of the Southern New Hampshire Services.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So,
Hey, when do you mix in the fun?
Yeah, what do you do for fun?
well, right now I'm,
Reading bills?
no, do a little bit of that. I mean, I enjoy reading a lot.
And
Well,
I just started reading a book on champagne.
Oh, really?
Champagne, yeah.
Have you been to France?
I haven't, but I've been to Canada a number of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about champagne for a second.
No,
so
no,
I
no,
was like,
Champlain.
Oh, that's what I thought we were talking about too.
I was like, we should get some and try it out a little bit.
So, but I mean, I love reading about history.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I know about you is you also like to visit Civil War battlefields, right?
Yeah, I've visited half a dozen of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it lends itself to the history as well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you go to some of them, I mean Gettysburg or, any of the other big battles, Antietam, and you just imagine, what those men had to go through,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that's when they still had the muskets, so you had to get about 100 feet away before the things even, hit something,
And hope you hit it.
and you hope you hit it at that point. But yeah, it's incredible some of the battles that took place, and if you get a chance, I would recommend it to anybody. That's such an important part of the history of this country. Let's face it.
Yeah. It's you're reminding me. I remember reading David McCullough's 1776.
Yes, I read that.
And
yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
But just thinking about it, and then you're talking about the Civil War and visiting these battlegrounds, but you think about what they had to deal with beyond the muskets, but the communication and the fact that you're a general and you have to deploy different troops, hoping to either attack or stave off an attack. But can you imagine, how do you logistically figure out how to move this battalion or this and the ramifications, and then not knowing what happened for days? It's when you start to read these historical, not novels, but biographies, it's incredible what they did and what they overcame. So,
and and what they went through.
yeah.
I mean, if you ever get a chance, I don't know if you have, go down to Valley Forge. And, they've got reconstruction of, what it was like, that winter at Valley Forge.
It's crazy.
So not to put you on the spot, but are there any favorite presidential biographies that stand out in your head? And if so, for what reason?
I think one of my favorite ones was Washington by McCulloch.
Yeah.
And one of the other ones, I think that was an amazing biography, was Truman.
Oh, by David McCullough as well?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, those two. A couple of years ago, we were out at the Truman. I was out at the Truman Museum, and I mean they just had finished like $20 million, upgrade and everything else of that place. That place is amazing. If you ever get a chance to go out there, go out there and see that museum.
He was a banker by trade,
incredible.
right? Wasn't Truman? Was he a banker?
I'm trying to remember if he was a banker or a
He was a judge.
haberdashery. Okay.
He had a haberdashery, and they didn't do too well. That was right after World War I, because he was in World War I over in France, in charge of a battery, battery, and yeah, they came back and they started the haberdashery and didn't do too well. And that's when he got, I think that was about that time, he got the judgeship, from Pendergast.
Okay.
And then he went on from there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. It's a remarkable story, and you talk about a man who ended up in the presidency during quite the time and all the different things that he did. So,
and the fact that he never even knew the atomic bomb existed.
Yeah.
Until he got to be president.
Is there anything you don't know exists in the state?
Probably.
And I just want to make sure we're not missing any secret hobbies, because we had Representative Greg Hill on a couple weeks ago, and we learned all about beekeeping. So I want to make sure you're not like keeping bees or
No, I'm not keeping bees.
or something else that the audience really needs to know about you.
No, if I get a bee, I'm going to kill it.
Yeah. I'm the
Before it
same.
stings me.
I'm right there with you. Don't tell Greg that, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, he's not inviting you over
Yeah,
anymore.
he'll come and trap it for us.
No, I mean, I don't think I have any real, what you might call hobbies. I just have always put my extra time into riding when I did a lot more of it. And
Well, in service, I mean, people may not think of it as a hobby, but in the state of New Hampshire, serving in the legislature is basically a hobby because you don't get paid for it.
yeah, we are the lowest paid in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago now. We had our speakers conference down in New York City. And there was 33 speakers from across the country there, which is the largest gathering I think we've had. And we were two or three times, we'd get in the room, just the speakers, just us, no staff, no spouses or anything of that nature, just us. So one of the meetings we were having, I says, and I think I knew,
Yeah.
but I said, who's the highest paid? Who's the highest salary in the country? And you could probably pick one of the states that it is.
California?
No,
Texas?
no,
New York?
New York.
Okay.
I think their base salary is like 140 plus thousand, whatever it is, and the speaker got an extra 40,000.
Wow.
And so you said to that speaker, so you can I just want to know who's taking me out to dinner tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then I asked, who do you think the lowest paid in the country is?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they have the State Legislative Leaders Foundation has that meeting once a year for speakers only, and
Is that bipartisan?
oh yes,
Yep.
absolutely bipartisan, and the great thing about it is, we get together for 2-3 days, and one of the things we don't talk about is policy. Mm-hmm. We talk about, what problems we might have. Of course, everybody still thinks, we're crazy in New Hampshire to have, 400 representatives, and they say, well, how many people do you represent? I say roughly around 3,500, and I say we have some multiple districts and explain it all. And, you get California or New York or Texas, Florida, places like that. I mean, they'll represent 500,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, and of course, their elections, they might spend millions of dollars on a House seat in these places.
Isn't that an amazing thing, though, too, because you really get to know your constituents? So you represent about 3,500 people, and I'm sure you've crossed paths with a lot of these
Oh, yeah,
people.
you do.
And it's just kind of a unique relationship where you're at the grocery store, and I'm sure you probably get approached, on a regular basis of like, hey, Mr. Speaker, either how are you doing, or I need your help on something, or...
Yeah, that happens a lot. I mean, we are truly the only citizen legislature left in the country. New Mexico tried to claim that. And we had one of our speakers conferences out there a few years ago. I was talking to my majority leader in New Mexico, and he said, well, we're the only state that doesn't get paid, so we're a citizen legislature. I said, well, we get paid $100 a year. He said, yeah, so we don't get paid. I said, how much you get per diem? Oh, well, I don't know, $150, $200 a day. I said, we don't get a per diem.
Yeah.
We don't get a stipend.
Just mileage.
We get $100 a year. He says, oh, yeah, I guess you guys are the only citizen legislature left in the country.
Touche. No, it's great. But I think the other thing about, our New Hampshire, our wonderful state here and our legislature is because you represent such a small number of folks, it's easy for, to get engaged in the process and really work and get things done. And that's a testament to you and how you became, in the legislature. Obviously, politics was kind of, in your bones, in your DNA. But, you had an issue, motorcycle rights, and you took that and you worked a couple issues. You found you were effective and then ran for the legislature. And, here you are 18 terms later.
Well, that's how I got into legislature. I was working, I guess you could say I was somewhat of a lobbyist, but I was a citizen lobbyist because I didn't get paid. We didn't get a dime for it. Mm-hmm. And after 15 years of doing that, I said, maybe I can do more if I actually run. And, and the first time I ran, I lost. Second time I ran, I won. And 18 terms later,
Wow.
Here I am.
Still winning. Do you see younger people coming up through the ranks of the legislature?
We have some younger people, very, very, very capable, young people coming up. The reality is most young people might do 1 or 2 terms and they're going to get a job, or they get a job that they can't, just take that much time off.
Yeah.
So that is the one drawback about, not, having somewhat of a pay. Because, even some of the states that don't get paid that much, most of them are still $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, some of the smallest states. And most of them, a lot of them still get this, some kind of a stipend or something like that. But a lot of bigger states have the problem when they meet, they're big enough where they might be 300-400 miles from home.
Yeah.
So I know there was a new speaker from Montana. He's 7.5 hours from the Capitol.
Wow.
Oh, does he get a speaker's residence like you do?
I don't think he gets a residence. Yeah, residence in the back seat of my car.
Yeah. Well, you got the house right next door, right? It's got like 1 bedroom upstairs, right?
Well, there is that there, but I've never stayed there.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I'm only half an hour away.
Yeah.
But that's what's nice about being able to get together once a year with these people, and we get a chance to talk about all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible.
It is. Well, I just want to say thank you again for coming on. I've known you for a number of years, ever since, I've been lobbying. You've been obviously at this a lot longer than I have, but I really appreciate what you said at the outset, which is about, collegiality, getting to know, encouraging people to, talk to folks from the other side. I think it's really important. And I think it's a testament to how you've been so effective. And, getting bills passed and, getting a budget done when you've got a 2-vote majority, working with the other side, getting a budget done on a voice vote. So I appreciate that mindset, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing your stories with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just your dedication to service, all the different things that you've done for the community, and, being a lifelong Granite Stater, you've definitely given so much back.
Keep giving.
Well, and of course, there's one other piece there. I'm also in the Hall of Fame for the Motorcycle Riders Foundation.
Oh, you're a double Hall of Famer.
Wait, we
Double
didn't
Hall
know
of
that.
Famer.
We only knew about Sturgis.
Yeah, no. The Motorcycle Riders Foundation has a Hall of Fame also. So I'm in it, and my wife is in it too. So we were both in that.
That's fantastic.
That must have been special.
I helped set that organization up. It's a national organization that basically our main goal is to keep track of legislation in Washington.
And where are they based out of?
The organization itself is, we have an office in Ohio, but it's just a partially manned office. But we have a paid lobbyist down in Washington that does a hell of a job for us.
That's great.
And on the horizon, are there any major issues you think you see coming up that could impact motorcyclists?
Oh, there's always issues coming up. Yeah. Always issues. You know, and you know, the helmet thing right now is kind of, because I think there's 30 plus states that don't have a mandatory law, mm-hmm. and but we also have problems with the roads, the safety of the roads, distracted driving.
Yeah.
There's so many other issues that, you know, we deal with day in, day out, you know, that has to do with motorcycle safety. And, you know, every time you think you've got one thing behind you, something else pops up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's but we've got almost every state in the country has their own separate organization. And we get together once a year also. And usually we get 35, 40 states that'll show up.
That's
you know, for a once a year annual meeting.
Well, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Really nice getting to know you a little bit better.
Oh, I could go on for another couple hours, but after the first hour, people would probably stop listening.
Yeah. No, this was terrific, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing a little bit of yourself with us and the international audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've traveled internationally, so you got to keep your head peeled because you're going to be a celebrity over there.
Well, I mean, we have, every year, the National Conference of State Legislators, you know, has something. And I know when we were in Ireland, we went to the Irish Parliament. We've been up to Canada or gone to the Canadian, the Quebec Parliament, a couple of times. So, if they can, they really try and get us involved with the government when we go to these different countries.
Great. Well, and keep us in mind when you make those plans to go to Hawaii.
Tom and I will tag along in the baggage.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Awesome. Well, thank you again very much for coming on. And thanks to our audience for watching and listening to this episode of
Anything But Politics.
And we've got more episodes coming your way, so stay tuned.